The United States military is unlike any other institution in this country. That said, however, it does share one characteristic with every other business in the United States. It is always working on its recruiting. Now, for the past few years, numbers have been down across every branch of the military. People have been trying to figure out what to do to solve the problem. The United States Navy has come up with a very novel idea for how to resolve their recruitment ills. They've hired a drag queen to help them bring in new sailors to the United States Navy. Hang on, folks. We're going to get into all this in just one second. My name is Brian Trippett. I am your front porch conservative. Step on up to my electronic front porch and let's talk. Now, this story broke a couple of days ago, and I happened to find it in the UK Daily Mail. But ever since Tuesday of this week, this thing has been picking up speed. So we're going to take a look at the article where I found it, and it's been put out in other publications as well. Look at some of the reaction to it and try to give a broader context to what's going on here, and then also show why it is that the very thing that they're trying to do might wind up being the very thing that's causing the problem in the first place. But I'll explain what I'm getting at here in a minute. So let's go to the article from the UK Daily Mail, and we read the following. Is this the Navy's Dylan Mulvaney moment? Drag performer Harpy Daniels is Navy's new, quote, digital ambassador in bid to boost recruitment that set to fall short by 8,000. We read into the article. The United States Navy has turned to a drag performer in its efforts to reach younger recruits on digital platforms and social media. Yeoman Second Class Joshuakelley, whose stage name is Harpy Daniels, announced on TikTok in November that he would be the Navy's first, quote, digital ambassador, highlighting his journey from performing on board beginning in 2018 and growing to become a, quote, advocate for those who were oppressed for years in the service. Kelly, who identifies as non-binary, was one of just 5 active sailors to participate as digital ambassadors for the Navy in its, quote, efforts to reach a wide range of potential candidates, a spokesperson told the Daily Caller. None of the digital ambassadors were paid, the spokesperson says, and no promotional or recruiting materials with the ambassadors exist. The campaign is reminiscent of Bud Light's partnership with trans star Dylan Mulvaney, which led to an immediate backlash, costing billions and caused the brand's sales to plummet. The Navy's digital ambassador program has now ended, running from October 2022 through March 2023, and officials are now working to assess its effectiveness. But authorities say the Navy is still expected to fall 8,000 short in its recruitment goals for the year. Reading a little bit further into the article, the Navy's decision to promote Kelly was part of its larger efforts to reach Gen Z. It ran a series of ads on social media platforms like Instagram, as well as on TV and streaming services tailored to the younger generation. The military branch even updated its diversity, equity, and inclusion statement, which it promoted prominently online. Our Navy is committed to enabling a workforce demographic similar to that of the nation it serves, the statement now reads. With nearly 50% of recruitable talent coming from diverse talent, the Navy must deliberate to create a culture where every person, regardless of their background, has the opportunity to succeed. This, to me, is fascinating. Everybody for years has heard about woke and SJW starting to creep into the United States military. Well, now, ladies and gentlemen, you have an absolute perfect example of it. Recruiting numbers are down, and the Navy is turning to drag queens to help recruit individuals to come into the military. Now, The debate about being gay or lesbian and serving in the United States military has been settled for a long time. I remember when this first broke out in the early 1990s. For years, there was a policy of don't ask, don't tell in place, and then when Bill Clinton became president, that policy was lifted. I have no problem with someone who's gay or lesbian serving in the United States military. That's fine, so long as it does not interfere with unit cohesion and does not in any way deter the effectiveness of a military fighting force. Now, so what's been the reaction of people who have heard about this? Well, here's a couple of prominent reactions on Twitter from people who have served and served quite prominently. We take a look at the Twitter page of Mr. Robert J. O'Neill, himself a host of the Operator podcast, SEAL Team 6, and he says the following. All right, the U.S. Navy is now using an enlisted sailor drag queen as a recruiter. I'm done. China is going to destroy us. You got this, Navy. I can't believe I fought for this bullshit. Reading from another Twitter page, Graham Allen, who also served in the U.S. military. This is not the same military I served under. Our enemies are laughing at us. Now, like I said, this story broke a couple of days ago, and reaction to it has been fast and furious, much like the Dylan Mulvaney, Bud Light Kelly, or a.k.a. Harpy Daniels, has even weighed in on this. Take a look at this. This comes from the New York Post. And I'll pull it up here in just one second. U.S. Navy's drag queen ambassador Joshuakelley accuses critics of not truly supporting the military. Oh. Harpy, you just took this up to a whole other level. Reading into this article, the active duty non-binary drag queen who served as a digital ambassador for the United States Navy hit back at critics Wednesday, accusing them of only supporting the military when it, quote, benefits them, while defiantly declaring, you don't scare me. Yeoman Second Class Joshuakelley, whose drag name is Harpy Daniels, responded to the widespread fury about their appointment, led by Army veteran Graham Allen and decorated Navy SEAL veteran Robert J. O'Neill on social media. In a video posted to TikTok and Instagram, Kelly can be seen alternating between their military uniform and drag looks while declaring that they DJAF about backlash. And I think everybody knows what those letters stand for. Alongside the clip, Kelly wrote, you only want to support the military when it benefits you and doesn't involve queer people. Yet the military is the largest, diverse, and adaptable organization in the use. Well, as a service member, a queen, and an open queer person, you don't scare me and you won't stop the LGBTQ plus community for thriving. Haters only hate when we are winning. Okay, I'm going to make a statement to Petty Officer Kelly. This has nothing to do with hating the military, and it has nothing to do with hating you. It has to do with the fact that one more institution in the United States is being infected in such a way that its values may be personal opinions off to the side. Sexual orientation off to the side. The job of the United States military is to prepare its people to be the most lethal fighting force on the planet. If you, with this, are in any way endangering that goal, then that's a problem. We don't hate the military, sir. We respect the military. We revere the military. Every Memorial Day, I go out with my family to visit the graves of our loved ones. Some of them served in the United States military, sir. We do not hate the military. Millions of people across this country who don't agree with this do not hate the military. We hate what's being done to the military. Its mission, its goal, and its purpose are being subverted, which gets to something else. You'll notice in the article that we read at the very beginning that recruitment is still not going to be met for this year. As a matter of fact, they're going to miss about 8,000. That's already been reported. Now, there's kind of a reason for that, and I want to show you a report that is referenced in that UK Daily Mail article. This report comes from the Heritage Foundation, which is a conservative think tank. And I'm not going to read you all of this. It's a very long article, but I will read you parts of it because I think this is very, very interesting. The report is entitled, Report on the National Independent Panel of Military Services and Readiness. And some of the things that are found therein, particularly as it relates to recruitment, are very salient right here. Poor recruiting success is an early indicator. While there are many indicators of looming problems with the military, the current military recruiting crisis is the most salient. In fiscal year 2022, the U.S. military had the worst year of recruiting since the advent of the all-volunteer force in 1973. The panel concluded that a large portion of the current recruiting shortfall is due to a drop in trust and confidence in the U.S. military. Reading a little bit further into this, and I'll get to the point. While there is not a great deal of data on what is causing the decline in public trust, the panel concluded that a major contributor to the loss is its perception that the U.S. military is pursuing ideological goals at the expense of military readiness. In other words, let me put this very simply for all the wokesters out there, okay? If you're still falling short of your recruiting goals, even though you have tried different things, particularly in this case, a drag queen to reach out to Gen Z, well, the very thing that you're doing is causing the problem that you're trying to solve. In other words, the more that woke, SJW, DEI gets pushed into the military, the more that people who are currently in the military or former military are going to look at their family members and say, hey, I don't think you ought to be going to the military, man, because, I mean, you got some Pentagon people up there that are pushing some really stupid crap. No wonder you're having a recruitment problem. People don't see the United States military as being that unique, shining example of an institution that is not political. So yeah, you've got a recruiting problem, and I got bad news for the United States Navy or any other branch of the military that's thinking about engaging in this kind of stupid. Don't do it. It doesn't work. The evidence is already in. They can spend all the weeks and months they want to analyzing their digital ambassadors, but I can already solve the problem for the Pentagon. You're going to find out that when word of this gets out in real circulation, that not only is it not going to help your recruiting problem, it might actually wind up making it worse, because now the American people have a tangible, real example of what happens when you let woke SJW DEI crap into the military. And the irony of it is, the very thing that's causing your recruiting problem is the very thing you're trying to use to solve your recruiting problem. Military intelligence. Boy, ain't that an oxymoron. But anyway, as we start to wrap this up, please do me some favors as always. Number one, if you're not a subscriber to the channel, please do so. Number two, please ring the bell for notifications. I want to make sure you're always aware of whenever I'm putting something new up. Number three, spread this around. I'll take all the help I can get. And finally, give me a thumbs up on the video. My name is Brian Trippett. I'm your Front Porch Conservative, and I'll see you next time.